Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Beck, where you hear real news from real people. Today, we are going to start out by reviewing The View, like we always do. I have Renee, I have Kendi, and of course I have Patty. And we have a lot of topics to cover today, so we're going to try to be as quick as we can, just because there is so much information. I swear we need a 2-hour show. I do. Just at the end of every show, it's like, I wish I had another hour. But today they talked about how Joe Biden just finished his winning streak. And it's like, well, I don't think that everybody realizes that the winning streak is not necessarily over. But I want to have you take a look at this quick clip.
It's my sincere hope we never again see anyone subjected to the kind of threats and abuse we saw in this election. It's simply unconscionable. We owe these public servants a debt of gratitude. The court sent a clear signal to President Trump that they would be no part of an unprecedented assault on our democracy.
And here I thought he was talking about President Trump, the way that they have treated him for the last 4 years and the way they have treated him throughout this election. It's just unbelievable the way he has been thrown under the bus with all of the affidavits, thousands of affidavits, with all of the evidence that we have about the Dominion machines. There's just so much evidence out there. But they're saying, can Republicans finally accept reality? And it's like, I don't think it is quite reality yet. McConnell congratulated the president-elect. And then, of course, Whoopi goes, Joy, is it over? And Joy just wasn't quite sure yet. She said 4 more years would have been a disaster, where a lot of us think that 4 more years, our economy would have kept getting better. Anyway, she was talking about how Putin then congratulated Biden. And of course, because he's got all those little Russian buddies, and we have Hunter in there. So anyway, there's just so much to talk about.
Well, it's so disappointing to hear Vice President Biden, who may be President Biden, refer to us as a democracy. Wouldn't you think that he would know that we're not a democracy? Joe, we are a constitutional republic, and I love what Benjamin Franklin said. A democracy is 2 wolves and a lamb voting on what they're going to have for lunch. Liberty is a well-armed, contesting lamb. So we're not a democracy. And I think to watch this and listen to the propaganda and the lies, and then I have to summarize this in 2 minutes. It's very, very difficult, and it's like they're gaslighting you constantly. That's what I feel like. I'm just going, wow, there's just so much here. How do you refute this in 2 minutes?
Yeah, totally. So this morning I drank a lot of coffee. I mean, way too much.
Well, better than drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yes. But here's the thing. So my heart rate is already increased because of the caffeine that's inside of me. And then I come home and I have to watch The View. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, my chest is going to explode. I want to echo what Renee has said in regards to a constitutional democracy. We live in a constitutional republic democracy. Yes. And I get frustrated when I hear our leaders describing us as a democracy when we are different. I do think one of the thoughts I had as I watched the show today, in addition to just that frustration, is we don't know how this is going to end, but it does appear that Joe Biden could end up being our president. And I think within myself, I am just trying to come to terms with that and to be in a place where I can behave as an American. I know that as we watch these women, and as they can't even call President Trump. Some of them will call him Trump. But how does Whoopi describe him? I mean, she won't even say his name.
You know who.
You know who. I want to behave better and to show respect for that office. I am nervous over what will come, but I want to do my part. And that's kind of the mindset that I'm in right now, is just how do I prepare for what may be.
It feels like a constant slap in the face when they insult Trump and his supporters, when they say, oh, the whole effort to raise money for his legal defense was just Trump trying to make money. It just makes a mockery out of what really was going on, and that somehow the courts did not back up any of the cases. But, you know, we have read extensively, we've seen extensive interviews on some very strange aspects to the election. And what's very interesting, there's a lot of never befores. Never before were there so few counties that Biden won. He won a record low 17% counties. 17% of the counties. He only won 524 counties as opposed to 873 counties that Obama won in 2008. Yet Biden somehow outdid Obama in total votes. I can go on, but I won't. Of all these things that, wow, that's really strange. That's never happened before. You know, Trump gained 11 million votes over his election in 2016, whereas with Obama, it was 3.5 million less than his previous election. And yet, Biden still won. There's all these things that never happened before. And you know what I think is really telling? Why aren't there any journalists reporting on this? If they're so excited, yay, Biden
That's
won.
what they have us for. That's why we're here.
They're so excited.
We're here to clear
but they don't touch on that stuff. Why? Because it sure looks suspicious, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah, I think that this is actually like a PSYOP operation. I've had that thought. Like, if they continue to talk like this is what's happened, that as Americans, we're just going to think, oh my gosh, this is what's
We're
happened.
going to believe it.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of funny because it was like, if you want to put up that one, I had a photo of the whistleblower. It's like an anonymous whistleblower was okay to impeach the president, but thousands of sworn affidavits on fraud are not worth investigating. Now, there were when they investigated the Dominion machines, they put 100 votes into each machine. Excuse me. And one of the machines popped out 113% of the votes went to Biden and 87% went to President Trump. And so they know that there's issues with the Trump, and that's why I'm not giving up. I know January 6th is the next magic date, but that is just for Congress to certify it. But you know what? That still isn't the final date. So there's so much things in the background that's not being reported on, and we hope that we can share some of it. But it's like going to a football game, and at halftime you run in to the locker room, you're winning at halftime, and then you come out and you look at the scoreboard, it's like, oh my gosh, it changed. The scoreboard changed, the refs changed, the rules changed, and all of a sudden here you sit and you're losing the game, and you went in at halftime knowing that this was a blowout win. So we have just... Again, we kind of used a lot of time on this section. We're going to talk a little bit about William Barr. There was a lot of, he either resigned or he fired. And so that's going to be up in our next segment. We're going to, let's take a commercial break right now, then we'll get started with William Barr after this. We'll be right back on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering, it's the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Are you a thrill seeker, sightseer, or day tripper? The Ford Bronco Sport SUV is built for you. Four Bears Casino is giving away a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport loaded with a ton of interior space, safari-style roof, smooth suspension for any terrain, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Qualify now just by playing your favorite slots at Four Bears Casino. Double points on Sundays. Also get in on Super Senior Wednesdays, slot turning Thursdays, and hot seats on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Spin into Four Bears Casino and Lodge for chances to win.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. In this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about William Barr. Evidently, he handed in his resignation yesterday, and so everyone is speculating, did he resign or did Trump ask him to leave? Was he fired? And so there's a lot going on in the background again, because one of the things was he said nothing was wrong or fraudulent about the election. So if anybody said, I mean, I'm just a layperson here, right? And if you watch all of the stories that are not coming up on mainstream media, you will see that there is a lot that you have to question about the election, about the fairness and the fraud. So that we have to eliminate. And then he said that it wasn't his place to tell President Trump about Hunter Biden. And it's like, well, why is it that everything about President Trump leaked out of that office, but nothing about the Democrats leaked out of the office? That's what I find so hard to believe, because people had been questioning the Hunter Biden issue for months and months, and nothing was ever said about it. But the gals were mentioning that history won't be kind to William Barr, which I guess I don't know if they will or not. That's for history to determine. But they were upset that Barr had a 4-page letter absolving President Trump of obstruction of justice. Well, because he didn't do anything wrong. And after the complete investigation, they found that it was all a fraud, that he didn't do anything wrong. But Sarah had mentioned that the DC Attorney General Karl Racine had said that she thinks that, he thinks Barr is getting out of the car or out of the vehicle because he knows he doesn't want to be in the next series of wrongful events. And so it's just, does anybody have anything they want to say?
Yeah, well, when he said that about he's getting out, before the ship goes down, I mean, that to me immediately, I thought of, this vaccine, because 2 of the top pharmaceutical companies have left. They have gotten out since this whole thing's going. I'm like, we have warp speed. Which this is going to be a fast-track vaccine. Yeah. And what's going to happen? I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Sure. Yeah, there was all kinds of information on that. We have 2 other things in this segment we want to get to. One of them was Sandra Lindsay is the first American to take the vaccine. And she's going to go down in history as the first American. So we don't know how she's going to do. We don't know in 5 years, the poor gal might be gone. We don't know. There just aren't enough answers to that. Kenny, did you have, excuse me.
Oh, sorry. Well, watching that, I just wanted to say that it's always like watching a 1-hour pharmaceutical advertising when I watch The View with some political propaganda thrown in for good measure. And you never hear them talking about long-term health effects of any of this. And most people don't know, but you know, how you eat, that affects the next generation. How our grandmothers ate affect our generation. Well, it's the same thing with what you inject in your body. So it's not only the tsunami of autoimmune diseases and cancer that we're going to be seeing from this untested product, but it is the long-term consequences of the next generation, infertility. God only knows.
There's just too many unknowns.
Yep.
Kendi?
I thought that she said a couple of things that I found hopeful. So this woman is from Queens, New York. And if you remember back when the pandemic started, New York was hit very hard with this. And so she talked about how they are now currently at a 25% capacity, or not capacity, but there's 25% of the people who are impacted right now. She sounded very hopeful. She said, we have had all of these months to learn and prepare, and we are ready for the second wave if it comes. And I loved hearing that because it was this indication, wait, the second wave hasn't come? I thought that's what we're in right now. It was just this message of, we know how to handle this, and we're going to be okay. And so I feel for her that she was the first to take the vaccine. I appreciate her as a healthcare worker and what she's doing. More than anything, I appreciated her message of hope.
If they were doing a commercial for the drug companies, they were doing a bad one because the truth kept leaking through. She was also exposing the media because she said at no time were we ever without the supplies we needed. At no time during this entire pandemic.
Yep.
And I thought, wait a minute, Queens, New York, really? Everything was fine the whole time? She said we were at 25% of what we were initially. So things have calmed down dramatically if that's true. And she said, and we're ready if there's a second wave. Well, if you just listen to the media, the second wave is like, we're drowning in it, you know, we're thinking it. And she's saying, if it comes. So that was interesting. And then the conversation on The View about the vaccine, there was a lot of talk about Whoopi Goldberg, who seems a little cautious. It keeps coming out. She says, well, there's a lot we don't know. It's a two-parter. And I think we need to get some space to see how the body's going to be reacting. And so on one hand, they're saying, yay, Lindsay, you know, you're taking this vaccine, yay, things are going to calm down. And then they're saying, and fine, I know lots of people that are going to take it, and it is going to calm things down. But we keep hearing, well, we'll have time to see what happens here.
Right.
It's like,
it seems like they're all getting kind of reluctant to take it. I had made a few comments. She asked Dan Abrams if he was going to take it, and he went around that question. There's no way he was going to answer it. Sarah said, well, knowing Nurse Lindsay is protected, you know, that's good news. Joy said she's not worried, she's just listening. And then Sunny said she was going to take it because her husband's a doctor. But I want to get to this other clip really quickly. It's a 2-year-old girl that got booted off an airplane because she wouldn't wear a mask. So if we can see this clip.
Why? We're over here holding this mask on her face. I'm sorry, sir.
We just got kicked off the flight because our 2-year-old would not put on a mask, and we tried. And they're sending all of our bags and Adeline's car seat to New York because a 2-year-old would not put on a mask.
Now, that is unbelievable. I thought that they had made exceptions for kids under the age of 2. But evidently, you need to have a real ID in order to get that.
Under the age of 5.
Under the age of 5? I thought it was
she is 2.
I know.
This airline doesn't. The World Health Organization said under the age of 5. And she's flown on this airline before.
This is no child should wear a mask. It's blatant child abuse. It's a useless, unscientific petri dish that restricts oxygen and harms children, not only physically, but psychologically. And it's very sad that we're watching parents sit back and be involved in this. I feel like...
Well, but if they're going to get kicked off a plane for not doing it, you kind of have to give the parents a break in that sense.
Oh, no, I didn't mean the parents. I meant like as a nation.
Right.
That we're just kind of all going along to get along. Not the parents. No, those poor parents. I feel horrible for them. Yeah.
You know, we were on a flight during Thanksgiving time, and my youngest daughter, who she's older than 5, her mask had slipped below her nose, and it was before takeoff. And I was shocked at how we were treated. I mean, we were threatened to be kicked off of that flight. And I just thought, how have we become so inhuman that we treat each other like this? I mean, it wasn't, you know, when you talk, the mask bites, it doesn't stay up. And so that's what had happened, but we were being threatened. So I feel for this family with a 2-year-old who just, they cannot wear a mask. It's foreign, it's not natural at all. And just the trauma that not only the child, but those parents went through, it's wrong.
How many times are we told, follow the science? The science says that children are not spreading it. There's a call for them to come back into the schools because they're not spreading it, they're not getting it, and they did not, this family did not even get a warning. All of a sudden, the flight attendant told them, you're off.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what's so really frustrating for everybody.
Shame on
But,
them.
you know, we're going to talk about bars and restaurant closures, the early curfew, after we get back on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here were terrific. We enjoy it.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Kohler Samurai and the innovative BRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. In this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the curfew in Bismarck and Mandan. It's been more than frustrating for a lot of people. I know for our own personal experience, this is kind of a special time of year. We usually go to the NFR, say every other year. And if we don't go to the NFR, we usually go out for steaks or something and then sit and watch it in a nightclub. And sometimes that nightclub might be a dance hall or it might be a restaurant. It just depends. Now, in years past when it was in Vegas, it didn't get over till about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, in the morning. But because they had it in Texas, it was so nice because it got over like just right on time. It was like 9 o'clock. It was over 9 or 10 o'clock. But anyway, so we got asked to leave on Saturday night. The rodeo had just gotten over, and we were just finishing our drinks, and we had to be out by 10 o'clock. But on Friday evening, a local establishment owned by Dr. Rick Becker, it's called The Luft, it's downtown, he got fined for being open after curfew. And I know Kendi has a lot more on this.
Yeah, so it's shocking that we are at this place as a community that we would find businesses for trying to make money. And one of the things that I appreciate and really admire with Rick, he's a friend of mine, is that he knows that his employees need, and he was willing to risk that so that they could make, a living to support themselves. I reached out to other owners within the community just to get a pulse on how are they being impacted by this closure that has to occur at 10 o'clock. And one in particular said, these rules do not make sense. And we are adults, we know the risk, and let us live our lives. One of the things that really came through as I visited with one, he talked about how his business is thriving, but the employees are suffering because they have lost 3 hours that they usually have every night to make tips. And he said, one in particular, like they can't even pay their mortgage anymore. He had one who their tires had gone out on their car. And so he decided that as a business, they would purchase the tires for this employee. And I told him, I said, I've heard so much shaming recently in regards to people who choose not to follow the rules, that they're not being Christian. And I said, you have done the Christian thing. You are seeing somebody who's directly being impacted financially from this, and you are helping them. And so I'm at that point of just like, let us live. We know the risk. Stop treating us like we're children and allow us to make money.
Well, there has been some talk that the reason they don't want people to gather is when you get that many people in a group, you might start to or consider rebelling. And so I don't know. I mean, that's going way out there, but anything is possible. When you look at what has happened over the last 9-10 months, things are way out there. And there's a reason that you need to question why things are the way they are. If this is the beginning of the Great Reset, these are things that you're not going to hear on mainstream media, but it's things that we seriously have to take a look at. Yeah. Patty, did you had...
I have a lot of thoughts on this because the restaurants in town, what we have to realize is if we do go out, we should remember a little extra tip because these people are suffering. I supported myself in college waiting tables. I have a son doing it right now at Texas Roadhouse, and they have less capacity. And I was at the Walrus. I know Jill Sanford, and their restaurant is doing very well, but these restaurants are at 50% capacity. Doesn't matter if it's a big building and the tables are all spaced out, or it's a small restaurant. There's no logic going into it. Just like kicking a 2-year-old off a plane. Where was the logic? How was she endangering anybody on the plane? But they're just like little robots, and they've been programmed to do certain things. And the good news in North Dakota is that people are going out and they are supporting their restaurants and their bars. Jill was telling me that when they first closed, she thought, what am I going to do? She had 33 employees, and she said, they don't have 401ks. Some of them have second jobs. They have families. What are we going to do? Excuse me, the curbside and pickup and deliveries really, really made it for them so that they could stay afloat. And so it's the support of this community. But on Saturday, we waited over at one of the restaurants. There was a big line for waiting. So we thought, well, let's go to the Walrus. We love the Walrus. And I have a son that works at the Texas Roadhouse in Grand Forks. And he said for 2.5 hours, there was a waiting line to get in. So North Dakotans want to get out. We want to support these bars and restaurants. And I think maybe that the government needs to back off a little bit. And I'm glad we're not as bad in some places, but maybe we're stricter than we should be.
Sure, and I just want to add to that. Those that are able to stay open or that are open, they're doing very well. But some of the really smaller ones that don't or they're afraid to stay open, they're failing. They're failing fast.
A few months ago, 9 months ago, there was 36,000 scientists that signed a declaration called the Great Barrington Declaration. And if our producer could bring that up, they basically were warning that this was coming and we were going to see massive amounts of people financially affected by this and psychologically affected by this and so forth. This has been completely censored in the mainstream media. And I want you to understand, these are Nobel laureates. These are really, really prestigious scientists from all over the nation. And they basically said, this declaration said, we should all go back to living normally, practicing simple hygiene, staying home if you're sick, basic common sense, no face masks or social distancing, and only protect the vulnerable populations with more protective measures. This is really basic common sense. I would like to just read a statement by a gym owner who is getting fined. He's already been fined over $1 million for defying the government, and he is not backing down. This guy needs like some sort of hero medal. Awesome. He is from New Jersey, and he's been, Ian Smith is his name, and he says, the Governor Murphy has thrown everything he possibly could to shut us down. He has arrested my partner and I, given us over 60 citations, some of them criminal. He fines us $15,000 per day. Every day we're in operation. Our fines are totaling over $1.2 million, but every single day, Frank and I open our gym, maintaining that more than 83,000 visitors have come to this gym without a single case of COVID, Smith said. What's happening in the middle class and small business in America is nothing short of a complete tragedy. I would go so far as to call it criminal. You are putting people out of business for good. You are making them reliant on big government. You are taking away their civil liberties under the guise of pretending like you care about public health. Ian, send me a friend request.
Right. You know, I have a Facebook group online that has, I don't even know what the number is at, but there's a lot of people in there, and it's all centered on defending our freedom. You know, as North Dakotans, as a citizen, I mean, this puts us in a compromised state. We are being challenged with, are we going to stand up for our freedoms or are we not? And I know that it's hard for some of us. It makes us feel uncomfortable. But the thing is we the people have the power within ourselves to push back against the overstep of the government. And we have to do that. And so I have encouraged that to happen. Go out there. And for business owners who own restaurants or bars, be brave, like this gym owner, and say, you know what? I have rights. My employees have rights, and we're going to stay open.
Absolutely, yes. I hear you. And now, Bill Gates has also said this is going to be many months, and we need to lock down for at least another 6 months or so. And it's like, he's not a doctor, he's not a researcher, he's not a medical professional, he is nothing. He's a billionaire.
He's a billionaire, yeah, that's what he is.
And he's best friends with our governor. Let's all be aware of that.
What a coincidence.
Yes. So anyway, it's like, why do we take advice from a billionaire with zero medical background? But we're going to talk to another doctor, Dr. Brooke Miller, after we get back watching these messages on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Howdy folks, it's a County Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you'll do for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous County Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spur rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the County Line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve. Through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering, it's the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Are you a thrill seeker, sightseer, or day tripper? The Ford Bronco Sport SUV is built for you. Four Bears Casino is giving away a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport loaded with a ton of interior space, safari-style roof, smooth suspension for any terrain, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Qualify now just by playing your favorite slots at Four Bears Casino. Double points on Sundays. Also get in on Super Senior Wednesdays, slot turning Thursdays, and hot seats on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Spin into Four Bears Casino and Lodge for chances to win.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. In this segment, we're going to talk to Dr. Brooke Miller again. He was with us last Friday, but we just had so many questions, we couldn't get to everything. Anyway, we're having a little bit of trouble with the with getting his video up, but we're working on that. But we're going to go ahead, and I want to show a quick video right now for everyone to see about ivermectin.
Near 2,000 peer-reviewed publications among us, low steroids in this disease, when all of the national and international healthcare organizations said we cannot use those. There is a drug that is proving to be of miraculous impact. And when I say miracle, I do not use that term lightly. And I don't want to be sensationalized when I say that. That is a scientific recommendation based on mountains of data that has emerged in the last 3 months. Of data have emerged from many centers and countries around the world showing the miraculous effectiveness of ivermectin. It basically obliterates transmission of this virus. If you take it, you will not get sick.
Wow. Well, yes, isn't that interesting? Brooke, welcome to the show. Welcome back again. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet.
My pleasure.
I understand that you had a little bit of snow out there this morning and it kept you at home to see patients online.
Actually, we're not supposed to get the snow until tonight.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, glad to have you back. And we talked a little bit about ivermectin, and I know you raise cattle, we raise cattle, and we give it to our cattle all the time. But tell us a little bit about what you know about ivermectin.
Well, as you know, Mary, ivermectin is a drug or a medication that's been around a long time. It's been used in cattle for many, many years for parasite control. And it's actually used in the human population for parasite control with a lot of excellent safety data behind it. It's been around and used for 30, 40 years. And it's a safe medication. And it looks like it certainly may be something that will help us through this crisis as well.
So then earlier today, I know at first they said the hydrochloroquine, absolutely not, it's going to kill you, everybody will die, do not take it, do not take it. And now they reversed that today. Do you have any experience with hydrochloroquine? What's your opinion on that?
Hydroxychloroquine is another medicine that's been around for years. It's actually over the counter in a lot of third world countries. And a lot of these same third world countries have a lot lower death rate and a lot lower incidence of COVID-19 than we do. When it first came out that it was possibly effective in treatment of COVID-19 infections, I was quite excited, and I was actually shocked and taken back by a certain part of our population, or the press was saying how dangerous it was when we pretty much use it in everyday practice. It's not a completely benign drug, but if used properly in a knowledgeable physician's hands, it's very safe and is a very safe medication. So that really caused a red light to go off in my mind on why this medicine that we've used for many, many years in things like malaria prevention and rheumatoid arthritis and systemic lupus erythematosus, we've used it very successfully for many, many years, and no one ever warned us, oh, it's a dangerous medication, we can't use this medication. It was only until COVID-19 that I learned that it was really dangerous.
So can I ask you a question in regards to that? It's more probably based on your opinion, but I'm curious as to why you think there's such a pushback against these medications that are shown to be effective when treating COVID.
Yeah, I don't know what the pushback is. I do know that, if we come up with a shiny new drug that's on patent or a vaccine, it'll make somebody billions of dollars. I mean, I don't know if to do with it or not.
So maybe we need to follow the money.
Yeah, I would say so. The other thing that's holding us back is that, a lot of people in the lay press think you have to have randomized control studies or randomized control trials for a medication to be used or be effective. And a lot of the medicines that we use in the world of medicine were never studied for what they're being used for. So they aren't, quote, FDA approved for their use. And we couldn't practice medicine if we couldn't use medications off label. So this has really been quite disturbing and disappointing to me that a lot of doctors, including myself, have been attacked for using these medications off label by people that really don't have a clue about what they're talking about.
So without going into detail, did you prescribe any of the hydrochloroquine or hydroxychloroquine?
I have prescribed hydroxychloroquine. I don't know whether the results were great or not. I think there were probably some positive results. Recently, after becoming aware of the studies with ivermectin, I have prescribed ivermectin, and I just got off the phone with a family, and they were exposed to COVID and all came down with, the grandmother came down with COVID symptoms. She's almost 90 years old, and she was doing horribly, and we got her on ivermectin right away, and she's doing dramatically better right now. So while we can't say it was definitely the ivermectin, we certainly believe that it was the ivermectin. And we're also using it in other family members to try to prevent them from contracting the illness. And the other family members have quite a few risk factors that they wouldn't want to get COVID-19. So we're very pleased with this, at least initial little test run that we've done. We've only been using it for a little less than a week, but so far the results have been positive.
Awesome. Just one other question. How could you compare the human ivermectin to animals? Now, I was reading some of the labels. I mean, I have some at home. Some of it is the pour-on that you use for cattle, but then there's also a paste that they say just take a pea size for a dog. What would prevent a human from doing that off the record? Let's just say some fell on my hand and I had to lick my lip.
The medication without the instructions or advice of a physician, and it does come in an oral form that you can get from the pharmacy. And so far, I've not received any pushback from any pharmacist or anybody as far as these prescriptions go.
Okay, Patty has a question here.
I'm blown away. I haven't heard about ivermectin. Why haven't we heard about it? It just seems like this would be our first line of defense, instead of to right away to treat it. And I'm wondering, is it very expensive?
Why haven't we heard of ivermectin?
And is it expensive?
I'm not sure. there's no big company pushing it because it's not going to make a big company a bunch of money. And I really don't understand why the CDC or NIH have not investigated more aggressively. And hopefully they will after the Department of Homeland Security Senate hearing on December 8th, when 5 physicians from different parts of the world testified on early treatment and prevention of COVID-19 infections. There was a lot of good information that came out, and I would encourage everybody to go online and watch the video and read the testimonies, the written testimonies. Dr. Corey, who was just earlier on the video, gave a very impassioned speech, and he is, at least he sounds like he is extremely versed in treating COVID-19 patients. That's all he's been doing for the last 6 months.
It seems interesting that you're saying because there's no controlled randomized trial studies, which is common, I guess, on a lot of drugs. So maybe that's the reason why they're not pushing this. But, you know, they push masks and there's no controlled randomized trial studies. So it seems like they're not very consistent.
Well, I think there was a study of 800 people took it, and it was at 0. It was 100% effective. And then the other 800 people that took it, like 530 some or 560 some people got sick.
Oh, okay.
And so that was the study that went with the ivermectin.
Oh, gotcha. So I misunderstood that.
There are some small randomized control studies, and they're pretty significant, but there haven't been any huge multi-center studies. But you know, Dr. Corey presents a lot of the data in his paper, and also links to data, and it shows a lot of these randomized control studies, and also anecdotal studies or observational studies. They've all been positive, and the epidemiologic data in the areas of the world where they've used this medication, the incidence and the death rate has gone down dramatically.
Perfect. Thanks again for coming on to visit with us, Dr. Miller. We really appreciate it. Unfortunately, we ran out of time again, but we will. You have an open door to come on our show and visit with us anytime.
All right, great.
Thank you. We will be right back with Ladies of Another View on Back.
Howdy, folks. It's the County Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous County Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a comb roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the County Line.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire. We keep the tough going.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. In this segment, we like to call it our lighter side. This is where we have a little bit of fun, have some cute stories. But this is a story that I found. This little old lady, she's 93 years old, and she put up a sign in her window that said, "I need more beer." Can you believe it?
I love it.
And I guess the community just had a fantastic time with it. And I had. Now, and I don't want to quote this directly, but Coors Light had also caught wind of this, and so I guess it had a happy ending. But I guess my point is, you know, even like the local places, there's a lot of local retirement villages, as we call them, and the only criteria to get in is to be 55 years old. Some of these people choose to live there because they don't want to live on their own. They want to be independent. They want to have someone, you know, maybe take care of them as far as picking up after them or having their meals prepared. They're not there because they're invalids. They're there because it's like an apartment condo. And that's where we got into the issues last week about how it's basically a private location paid by private money, but they're still held to those same requirements. And so I just got such a kick out of this gal. That is cute.
That's cute. Well, she's adorable, and although I'm not an advocate of drinking alcohol, I have to laugh at it, so it's cute.
I'll totally advocate for it. So, just kidding. So I found this cute story of a man who's from British Columbia. His name is John Hillman, and this year he turned 101 years old. Can you believe that? I can't imagine what it's like to live that long. He had set the goal to raise money for children in Canada. That's where he's from. And so he set the goal to raise $101,000 for that 101 year. And so to raise that money, he was going to walk 101 laps around his long-term care facility. Well, instead of raising $101,000, he ended up raising $160,000.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
I thought his story was so inspiring, and I love, as we get older, just seeing people be resilient, and we need to honor our elderly.
Right.
Because we will be one
we
someday.
will.
Yes,
Not
yes.
yet.
It's time marches on, that's for sure, you know.
Yes.
I'm sure you can all look back to when you were young and think about how you never thought you were going to be this age. And so now I'm realizing that time seems shorter and shorter. And so how we do have to respect our elderly and not treat them like they really are so different than we are. Because I don't feel that much different in my head. I don't feel that much different than who I was 20 years ago. I mean, we do grow and we do change. But, you know, there's just a lot of liveliness and excitement. And they're not that different than we are. So let's not treat them quite so different. Give them the support they need. But don't put them aside and forget about them.
Right.
If I could show the governor burger, or should we do that?
That's for
our next.
thought.
Okay,
If you
never
hang on-
mind.
hang tight
Gotcha.
for a moment,
Okay.
That's all right. But in the retirement places here in town, they actually have a refrigerator with beer in it. So if you have a guest, no, really, they will. They want you to feel at home. And if you drink beer at home, by golly, you can drink beer at these retirement homes. And so that it just makes them feel more homey. I know, you know, it's just amazing. And if you have someone or a loved one or someone that you know that maybe doesn't have anyone visiting them, feel free to bring them a 6-pack of beer or a bottle of wine or something. And even if they don't drink it, they can share it if they have someone come in and visit. Patty, I know you had a quick.
Well, my father-in-law was at St. Vincent's in town, and for one 4th of July, we went to visit him, and he called my husband Mark and said, would you just bring me a beer? I really want a beer. You know, it's the 4th of July, I want a hot dog and a beer.
And just one closing with the elderly. It's Christmas season, and they usually have so many people come and see them. And I think it would be important to try to find a way to let them know that we still remember them and we care about them during this special.
Sure, that's an excellent point. Well, now we come to the time where we have our final thoughts, and Renee's been dying to share her final thoughts.
I'm trying to jump ahead here because this is so exciting. I want to show you guys the creativity of a business owner in Fairfield, North Dakota. If our producer could put up the Governor Burger, there it is. Look at this. The governor's mandate and recommendations made the menu at Four Corners Cafe in Fairfield. And it's basically chicken microwaved until it's dried out on a cold plain bun, and a side choice you didn't order, but only 50% is allowed on your plate to satisfy 100% of your appetite. $20.20.
Oh, gosh.
Very creative. I want to just go to that restaurant because, again, add me on Facebook, whoever did this.
Right, and Fairfield, just to be clear, is it's west of here and north, so northwest of Dickinson a little bit.
Okay, so my final thought is let's all go support that business because the governor, he's got to go.
I love the price, 2020. I heard, it was kind of a joke, that maybe hindsight is 2020. Maybe we didn't understand what it meant, that it really was a prophecy for us.
Absolutely. There's just so much that we could go on. You know what I'm saying? 2020 has been a bust, but we have so much to look forward to in 2021. You know, whether it's getting rid of COVID by taking the proper medication that isn't expensive, no more trials, none of that. But, you know, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about tomorrow's show. We have an author coming in, and he's going to talk about some healthy ways to live your lifestyle. But thank you for joining us today on Ladies of Another View on Beck.